英語会話
Topic of the day.
担当は松本徹先生。お相手はカレン・レイノルズさんです。
Hello everyone, this is your English conversation program. How are you? Oh, I'm fine, thank you. Hello, Karen.
Hello, Mr. Matsumoto.
How are you?
Very well, thanks.
Very happy to see you again, Mr. Henderson.
Nice to see you, Mr. Matsumoto.
We had Mr. Hugh H. Henderson last week. Mr. Henderson is the Far East manager of Scholastic Japan. Karen, Scholastic Japan is a publishing firm.
Right, children's books primarily, headquartered in the States. I think Mr. Henderson is over here working with teachers in Japan, or?
That's right. We're working with teachers and trying to point out to them the advantages of books that are simple and easy to read with lots of pictures, and this will help the students in their study of English.
Do you teach English here?
I don't teach at the moment, but I have been teaching in the past.
Mr. Henderson, you seem to think that these books are good for children. Now, my question, don't you think these books could be very profitably read by even students and adults studying English?
Yes, I agree with that. The content of the books is simple enough so that even the university students and businessmen who have time to spare could enjoy these books without feeling that they were studying English. It's the pleasure associated with these books that's the biggest advantage.
It's been my feeling, in fact, it has become a conviction that our students, even high school students, are given materials that are too difficult to understand in English.
Well, I would agree. It takes a great deal of pleasure out of studying a language if you are forced to learn or dissect in a grammatical way long passages of stories that as a whole are not really interesting.
Yeah, I've seen students reading very difficult scientific articles and essays written in English, of course, with the help of their English-Japanese dictionaries. Big, heavy dictionaries, you know.
Do they really gain anything from this?
They gain some information
But
after they translate.
Does it balance out?
They can get that kind of information through Japanese materials, too. Mm-hmm. Therefore, as you say, they may get some information through analyzing the grammatical construction of the English language. In fact, that seems to be one of the main interests of the study, which I think is a shame. Now, they don't seem to be able to just read the material in the original language and understand what's written without translating.
Well, I think part of the reason for that is that in the schools and in their formal study of English, the emphasis has always been on providing some sort of Japanese explanation so that the students have become accustomed to seeing Japanese notes and explanations accompanying any English passage. And if they don't have these notes or they don't see them on the paper, there's some psychological change that takes place in their mind, and they just refuse to accept the book because they think it's too difficult.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then these passages are sort of like a crutch to them, aren't they?
Yes, it acts as a crutch.
We're all linguistic cripples. Now, I have always felt, as I said, that our textbooks are as we advance in grades, to become too difficult. Therefore, I think we ought to advance more slowly and widen the area in which material should be written and cover a variety of subjects, more interesting subjects. That's where I think perhaps the books by your company come in, and some other companies as well. We should make what we're reading more interesting and true to life, up to date, shall we say.
Yes, it doesn't help a student in his English, I think, to be reading something that has no relevance to today. It is something that describes life or ways of life of many, many years ago. He wants to read something in English about other people in the world today, what they're doing today and what they're interested in and what they do in their free time, for example.
Exactly.
Do you think that this is one of the most common errors in teaching English here?
Well, it is. I wouldn't say it's one of the most common, but it's developing into, or has developed into, a sort of a program in the minds of the English teachers and those connected with English that they should insist on providing stories that have great literary value, stories from English literature that have proven to be well known in the Western world. But they forget one thing, that the Japanese student of English is not interested so much in reading that if he can't understand it, and he doesn't want to spend too much time grammatically analyzing these passages because it takes all the pleasure and fun out of learning the language.
Right. Now, one more difficulty we seem to have is that of pronunciation. No matter what we say, we don't seem to get understood. And we don't seem to understand what people are saying. What's wrong?
Well, in pronunciation there are several problems. English is so different from Japanese that this is the first problem. And Japanese has, in the past, taken many, many words from English and put them into Japanese and write them in the kana form. And when you have a word in kana in Japanese, a student finds it easier to remember it in kana, but the original word is English.
Yeah.
And so when they try to repeat that word in an English conversation, their mind more easily adjusts to the kana pronunciation.
Uh-huh.
And things like typewriter come out typewriter, simply because in the Japanese student's mind, that is the pronunciation of the English word, but he hasn't learned the correct pronunciation.
Karen, have you ever had any experience of misunderstanding because you used real English?
Well, I think like the other day I was trying to find the word for cover, buttons that I would cover. So I didn't know how to do it, and I just said it in kana, cover button. And I got what I wanted. So I just try the other, it works two ways, though. Although I think that it is unfortunate that people do call a book a book, and their speech and their kana do mix up. And I think that it's a bad habit to get into. And I think that this is one of the problems with the younger people, that you'll hear them saying they speak English, but they don't really. They're speaking kana.
I was reading in the paper the other day about an American woman who was invited to have kali lice for ranchi. She got that straightened out later on, though. Now, as you meet English teachers, as you meet students who are studying English in Japan, what do you really suggest that we do?
Well, it's a very difficult problem, and there's no easy solution, of course. You can't provide an instant answer to this. My suggestion would be that in my discussions with teachers and educators, that they pay more attention to selecting materials which appeal to the student rather than selecting materials that the teacher thinks are good literature and can be used in the classroom in a grammatical sense. The students are interested in reading things in English. This has been proven. But it's what they're reading that's the most important. And I think the selection of materials is the most important problem at the present time. This would help improve the English education of students.
Thank you very much, and I think that explains why you're here. Mr. Henderson, Hugh H. Henderson にいろいろお話を伺いました。皆さんご存知かもしれませんけれど、私もこれで、22年間の英語会話放送生活を終わることになります。今日は総まとめといっては甚だ大げさになりますけれども、今まで放送してきたことの中から、まとめていろいろお話をしたいと思うんですが、結局、一番ためになることは生の英語をたくさん聞くこと、聞かなければ始まりません。 We have to listen to good live English. We have to listen to good live English. それから、これを真似することです。子供は親の真似をして言葉を覚えるように、これを真似することです。 We have to imitate it. それ以外に手はありません。いろいろな音を聞いてそれを真似することです。言い方を真似することです。 We have to speak the way the native speaker speaks. 他の人の真似をすることは、問題です。ネイティブスピーカーのスピークするように真似をして喋ることが一番手っ取り早く正確な方法だと思います。何よりも喋ることです。 We have to speak. The only way we learn how to speak English to speak English. We have to speak English. We don't have to translate English into Japanese. In fact, we shouldn't translate English into Japanese. We have to speak English. We have to eventually learn to think in English. 日本語で考えて、それからそれを英語に直して言ってるんでは間に合いません。We have to learn to think in English. それは英語で喋ろうと思ったらどうしてもそこへ行かなければ、ならないと思います。で、発音はさっき言いましたように、ネイティブスピーカーのように、話していれば発音は自然と良くなります。あまり細かい発音法を考える必要はありません。体が自然に覚えてくれます。ですから無意識で発音しても正しい発音ができるようにすればいいと思います。暗記をすることも非常にためになります。暗記をするということは、この Thinking in English につながるように暗記しなければダメです。全然意味のわからない英語を暗記しててもダメです。それから英語は英語でわかるようにするということも必要です。 We have to understand English in English. Try to understand English words in English. したがって初めのうちは図解で、物で、動作で理解します。お母さんを見て mother, father, car, room 何でも物を見ればわかりますから、いちいちそれをお父さんお母さん部屋だ自動車だと訳す必要ないと思います。そういうふうに物で分かっていると思います。こういうふうにして覚えていってください。 English, understand English in English. Listen to good English.Imitate good English. Think in English. Speak English. これをやっていれば自然と話せるようになると思います。And now I'd like to take this opportunity to say thank you to each one of you for so faithfully studying English conversation with me all these years. And even after I have left the program, I hope you will carry on with Mr. Togo. Thank you, Mrs. Reynolds.And goodbye, everyone.
担当は松本徹先生。お相手はカレン・レイノルズさんでした。英語会話を終わります。